Rize with Dr. Zee. Wake up and live. Rize in the morning. Rize in the morning. Your day just got started. Rize with Dr. Zee. Wake up and live.
Good morning, and I'm saying it again. Wake up, my people. All right, come on, share us, like us. Yes, Amran, I see you. And be prepared to participate in today's show. Good morning, Kathy. Oh, my two most favorite people. Did I say that? Yes, I did. Well, you should be. It's my sister and my best friend, all right? So thank you for your support. Wake up, my people. Get your husband up, your wife up, the children up. Yes, Eon, nice to see you. Blessings to you also. All right? And so we are going to start this program as usual with a word of prayer, okay? Heavenly Father, thank you for waking us up this morning in our right minds. Oh God, and for allowing us to experience another one of your beautiful days. Thank you for protecting us, oh God, because we could have been one of those who went to bed last night and did not wake up this morning. So I thank you, Lord, for your protection. I thank you for your provision, for strength, for peace, for giving us the ability to love each other. And Lord, thank you for those of us who have jobs, oh God, to go to. You have been taking care of us, and we ask you to continue to take care of us, oh God. Bless the show as we take it into other realms today, oh God. Lord, I just ask your guidance and your protection on everyone. In thy precious name I pray. Amen and amen. Yes, Selector Akil, welcome. Sue Patrice, good to have you on this morning. I know sometimes you have to go to work, but I think today is a day you're probably going to be able to stay on with us for the whole time. So I look forward to you making your contribution this morning, okay? Now we go into the inspirational thoughts for today. When God has selected you, it does not matter who else have rejected or neglected you. God's favor outweighs all opposition. You are victorious. Just remember that. When God has selected you, it does not matter who else have rejected or neglected you. God's favor outweighs all opposition. And remember, you are victorious. Every day starts with some expectation, but every day ends with some experience. Ruth Chapal, good to see you. Good morning from Canada. Welcome to the show. Every day starts with some expectations, but every day ends with some experience. This is life. So enjoy the day, every day, because every day is a different day. So enjoy it. Now, the last one for this morning. As you step out today, may angels lead you. May peace accompany you. May grace go before you. May love and light surround you. May kindness spread from you. May goodness and love follow you. May lessons teach you. May family support you. May friends encourage you. And may God protect and bless you. And may your day be filled with love, peace, and joy. I'm wishing you all of those things today. Yes, and I'm wishing that we all have a wonderful weekend. But don't go. Get your friends to come on. and take part in this show. I have a young man in the back. Some of you are familiar with him, and others of you who's watching the show for the first time will get to meet him. Okay? And Judith says, have a good day. Kathy says, amen. Great. Now, before we go into the meat of the show, I want to make our birthday calls and our anniversary and our shout outs. Okay, I'm going to start with a shout out. I'm shouting out my friends across the pond, and I have a little friend named Aaron. I'm saying a special good morning to you. I'm giving you a special shout out this morning. Okay? Now, we're looking at some birthdays. We're going to start from the 16th. We had Elisa Griffith and Winston Granger celebrating happy belated birthday. That was the 16th. And yesterday, we had Takesha Jeffrey, Wendy Tellisford, Lisa Bronson, Trevor Johnson. They celebrated on the 17th. And June, actually, no, the 18th. Yeah. The 18th. Gloria Clark, Jimmy Brave Boy, Christopher Durosimi, hi Chris, Andre Celestine, Joe Bailey, and they are celebrating today. Again, I'm sending out these greetings for the birthdays today. Wendy Tellisford, Gloria Clark, Jimmy Brave Boy, Christopher Durosami, Andre Celestine, Joe Bailey, all celebrating birthdays today. And then we have some special people celebrating, oh my goodness, so many of them celebrating birthdays tomorrow. Tomorrow seems to be a blessed day. Tomorrow, God's willing. And notice I always say God's willing because it is His will if we get up tomorrow morning. So we have Granny P. Oh, what a lovely, lovely young lady. She's celebrating her birthday tomorrow. Leslie Adams, Nelson King, Christine Boney, Colin Francis, Chanel Williams, Andy Johnson, and Spice Chick. Happy birthday to you guys. I wish you have a wonderful day tomorrow, God's willing. And we have Flower Child saying good morning. We have Grace Lynch, good morning, good morning. And have a wonderful day today and be prepared. Say something when we come on with the rest of the show. Okay? Now, we are going to take a short break. And when we come back, I'm going to introduce to some and reintroduce to others this young man in the back. All right. And we're going to get into some discussion. And as I said, I want you to chime in. All right. And oh, by the way, Kathy says happy birthday to P. Angela, Granny P, tomorrow. And yes, I know that's your friend. That's my friend too. And she's a wonderful, wonderful lady. Vincent from Trinidad, good morning. I see you. And Amaran says happy birthday to Gloria. Yes, Gloria grew up together with us in Grenada. So a special happy birthday and to everyone. Okay, so we'll be right back.
You're constantly thinking of food, but sometimes you just don't want to cook or want something a little different. That's when you call Tasties, preparing meals that you really love. Tasties, our mouth-watering food, would have you coming back every day. But hold on, we only prepare meals Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for now. Call early because we have a lot to serve and we would love to serve you. Tasties, we prepare the meals you love to eat. From macaroni pie to baked chicken, provision dumpling and saltfish, stewed chicken, curry chicken, baked chicken, rice and peas, salads, and more. Please call for daily menu. Call 425-0624 or 403-0411. You can pick up your meals from us or we deliver to you. Tasties, food that's delicious.
Welcome back to the Dr. Zee Show. And at this time, I'm going to introduce to you a young man who is doing well for himself. And he's doing something that he loves to do. he also is committed to helping us get more educated about certain things that we need to know. Mr. Cullen Campbell.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. He has served over 10 years in the field of journalism in various capacities and has worked in two of the major television networks on the island of Grenada, with his most recent stint at Now Grenada. Mr. Campbell,
Morning.
welcome. And this morning, I am not interviewing you. You are going to be part of discussing certain things that is important.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate that.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, Sue has said something there. She keep getting the theme song interrupting Dr. Z and now within the ad. So we are going to have technical staff in the back look into it. Doris Maureen Charles, welcome, welcome, welcome. And Colin Kathy says, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Okay. We have some things, very important things to discuss today.
Yes.
But before we start the discussion, I just want to mention that we had a death in the US Congress that probably will affect us for some years to come. We want to express our condolences to the family of John Lewis. He died yesterday at the age of 80 after suffering for the last 6 months from cancer. This man survived a brutal beating by police during a landmark 1965 march in Selma, Alabama. Brutal beating. And just to think that all of these years and it's still going on today, he was regarded as the conscience of the US Congress and an icon of American history. He was a stalwart champion in the ongoing struggle to demand respect for the dignity and worth of every human being. He dedicated his entire life to nonviolent activism and was an outspoken advocate in the struggle for equal justice in America. He will be deeply missed. So I'm just expressing to our Democratic Congress, to his family, and to those of us who knew this man from watching him do the things that we would like more of our Black congressmen and women to do for our community. So we mourn the loss of Mr. John Lewis, and we thank God for his service and thank him and his family for his service to humanity. Yes, and we have some other dedications going on from Kathy and Mo. John Lewis was a civil rights icon. May his soul rest in peace. Rest in peace, Mr. John Lewis, and we will miss him. So now, Cullen, we are going to start by talking about those 129 students that was retained in primary school in Grenada. Yes. And I want you to let people know what really is done to decide whether students get promoted or not, move from primary to secondary, and what the criteria are.
All right. Yes, so you are correct, Dr. Z. We, this year, we have 129 students were retained in the primary schools. Just to break them up into male and female category, we have 25 females being retained, but most importantly, and it's very disturbing, 104 males. Now, since the time I've been covering stories on the results of the CPEA exams, I've always realized that there's a pattern that the females are outperforming the males in Grenada.
And right? I want you to explain for some people who don't know what CPEA means.
Right, so it's the Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment Exam, the CPEA. It replaces the Common Entrance Exam.
Right. Because in my days, and probably yours, it was called Common Entrance.
Yes, I did Common Entrance, yes. Now, 1,872 students, that includes 988 males and 844 females, were registered for that assessment. And 1,743 students were assigned to secondary school throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martin. But now, what was done this year, because of the coronavirus and due to the lockdown, the CPEA exams could not have been held, right? So what was done, they used the internal component of the scores from the internal component of the CPEA exams, and they also did the minimum competency test, the MCT scores, and they tabulate those scores, and that would dictate whether a child moves on to a secondary level or they're retained in the primary level. So that was done this year.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, we see the disparity in the male and female females who have been left back, and so what we're going to do is have a little talk about that. But before we even go into that, because I think we both feel that a lot of this have to do with family structure. But before we do that, I think we also need to take a look at the stats from our prison.
Yes.
When it comes to male and female. So when we get to the family structure discussion, it will also reflect on why some of these things are happening. So
exactly.
I want you to give us that analysis and the stats of our prison system in Grenada.
All right. Well, in speaking with Mr. Hector, Mr. Hector is a psychologist who is currently working in the prisons, and he's also assisting the government through the Empower program. Now, he provided some astonishing stats to me that it's really concerning. Now, one of the issues we have here is that 60 to 70% of male prisoners are between the ages of 19 and 35, right? And a significant amount of that prison population, which now stands at 303, I'm not sure of the exact figure, but it's over 300 inmates. Actually, not too long ago, it was over 400. So there's a reduction. But the majority of prisoners are males, right? The vast majority, as a matter of fact. We also have to understand that there's a 60% recidivism or repeat offenders. 60% of inmates who have been to the prison will be repeat offenders and will have to then be admitted to the Richmond Hill prison. And then over 80% of prisoners are up in that prison as a result of drug and alcohol related problems. So
alcohol related problems. Just on my last show, I talked about Grenada, little Grenada, being third in the world in alcohol consumption, liter per the people in that country. And yes, I know we're small, but it's a ratio. And we're third. And so I think we need to look at that problem in Grenada. And Colin, it's not only in Grenada.
No, it's not only in Grenada. No, you have to understand that based on our history, and it's saddening. It's saddening that the culture that we have, this rum culture, and it stems from slavery, and it progressed, and now we're really seeing the effects. We also understand that there is not enough facilities available, or the necessary well-equipped professionals to deal with issues in terms of rehabilitation. So that problem will continue to exist if we do not deal with the root cause, because we tend to deal with the symptoms of a problem.
Yes.
And we don't deal with the underlying causes of the problem. It's like putting Band-Aid on cancer.
There you go. Lydia Joseph, good morning. Good morning.
We go talk about the problem. That's what we're doing. And with our educational system, we do the same as well.
Yes, because take the public library. Okay, I remember when I was in primary and high school, had a public library in St. George's, and that's where you would find students after school
Mm-hmm.
going to the library to be able to do some research and even just to get away to do some homework, because some people, they had nowhere to go, some kids after
Mm-hmm.
school, and they would go to the public library, and they were killing two birds with one stone, because
Mm-hmm.
they were finding a safe place for the evening before going home when their parents come from work, and they were also able to read and get some more knowledge and do their homework and things like that. But that library was closed a very long time ago.
Yes, yes. To be honest with you, not only our public library, we're speaking about because the library in Grenville is closed. The only
Mhm.
working library that I know of is the Grenada Public Library, and that is operated by a private individual through donations. So that library is actually, I would say, struggling because they're operating and they're operating very efficiently for the resources that they have. But at the
Mhm.
same time, we need to understand that they rely on donations, and if they don't receive donations, then they're in trouble. They cannot pay staff, they cannot upkeep the library. So this problem, like I said to you, not having a library, right? And I always say that a library is a public library. It's a temporary solution, right? A temporary solution. There is a more permanent solution that we are not thinking about. And I want to bring us back to the establishment of the first educational institution that was established. And if you were to ask people a question, what is the first educational institution that was started? They would not be able to give you the correct answer. Why?
Right.
Because they were not taught what was the first educational institution. And I'll see what it is. It is the family.
There you go, Colin. I want to say good morning to Rosemary Welch and Andrew George. And Lydia says, I used to go to the library to read, and it served me well in doing English. Yes, yes.
Yes,
The family.
the
Go ahead,
family.
Colin. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
all right. All right, so just give it the opportunity. Let's just first flesh out the problem. Let's first understand and identify the problem. Right. Now, we need to understand that education is a lifelong journey,
Yes.
but it does not start in the primary schools. A matter of fact, education starts in the womb of a woman.
You tell them, Colin. Tell them.
Education, and let me say it again, education starts in the womb of a woman, not in the primary schools. And what we tend to see happen is that mothers and fathers have relinquished their responsibility to be the first educators of our students and not the teachers. So they pass on that responsibility to the teachers. Now, it is not entirely their fault, because we have to understand that society has forced parents out of the home because they have to struggle to survive, they have to work, they have to pay bills, and they have to come back home and take care of the children. So it's not totally their fault. But at the same time, parents have relinquished their power to the teachers. And then now they blame the teachers as to why their students are not learning and not taking the responsibility. Now, I say all this to say is because I am a product of a short-lived experience where I was educated in my mother's womb, right? My mother, she was born in Aruba, and I'm her youngest son. No, she did not do that with my other sisters, but for some reason, when she got pregnant with me, something told her, start educating me while I'm in the womb. Because for people who don't know, my mom died when I was 7 years old.
Hmm.
So that was short-lived. But I was able to carry out my role and function because I still remember what my mother told me while I was in the womb, and I also remember what she told me after I was born, right? Because it's still ingrained in me. Yes, you want to come in there or?
Well, this is what some people don't understand. When a child is conceived, that child is alive. So that child is hearing and feeling inside the womb.
Yes.
And so they take their cue from the mothers. And even as you rightly said, the fathers could be involved. Father can go and touch the stomach and speak to the child while the child is in the womb. The child, people don't understand that this child is alive from since then before coming out.
Exactly. And let me break it down even further. So, all right. So let's take, for instance, me, for example, right? This is what my mother did. When she was pregnant, she understood that what she ate was important. Because what she ate will reflect what I would want to eat after I'm born. Very important, because nutrition plays a vital role in education. 1. 2, she ensured that what she looked at visually, what she listened to, was conducive to my learning. So she was not watching pornography and listening to music that was degrading women and violence and so forth. So she understood that. What she ate, what she listened to, anything that you digest, your baby digested. For instance, I remember a mother on a bus, she said to me, well, she have a little baby and that baby always running to grab the cell phone and he knows how to work the cell phone, just a little child. And she's wondering why. And I said to her, what were you doing when you were pregnant? You know what she said to me? She was using the cell phone every day. She was training the child how to use the cell phone when the child was in the womb.
That's right. That's right.
Right? But it is not, it not only starts there, because after that child is now born, there's a series of things that parents must do in order to make your child competitive. One of the things that parents must do, and especially the mother, because the mother's primary role is to be the nurturer and caregiver.
That's
the father's primary role is to provide the discipline and protection and to provide. But no, we could have interchangeable roles here, right?
That's correct.
Primary function. One of the things that you must do is that when your baby is born, you must establish a connection with your child. Now, we will get to the education of why children are failing, but we need to identify the problem.
That's right.
Have that connection with your child. If you refuse to breastfeed your child or you give your child formula, which is a synthetic milk, you're preparing your child for failure.
Whoa.
Hold on. If you decide that you would not make that child, I mean, could I say the word suck on your nipple? Because is that too vulgar? But no, if you do not have your child to suck from your nipple as a mother, then you're not bonding with that child. You're not sharing that energy with that child. Especially also how you carry your child. If you're carrying your child in a pram and you're pushing your child away, then exactly that's what you're doing. You're pushing your child away from you. You're driving a wedge between your child. You're supposed to carry your child on your breast, or you look at how Africans carry.
And that's why the Africans and they actually have the child.
Hold on, we don't even start the conversation yet.
That's right.
Yeah. Right. So now let's move on now. Now, one of the fundamental things that as a parent should do, and now parents, mind you, you should not impose your vision on your child. Let your child tell you what he or she wants in life. And listen how they will be able to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
And observing your children and how they interact with their environment, they will tell you by their interaction, they will be able to tell you, Mommy, I want to be an engineer. Mommy, I want to be a doctor. Mommy, I want to be a mechanic, a teacher, an educator, not a teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, because
an inventor. If you see them always inventing things, they always tinkering and taking things apart. You know, and that is so important, Colin.
So important. People don't think about those things. Hold on, we gonna get it. We gonna get to it. So when, for instance, if you have a young man who would like to take apart his toys, don't beat him. Just observe. Just observe that child for 1 second. See what that child does. If you see that child trying to put back the pieces together, then you're like, all right, bam, that child wants to be an engineer. That child may want to be an inventor. That child trying to understand the mechanics of how this toy or this gadget works, right? Now, mind you, if you see a child always destructful, you have to understand that that child may have some trauma that you need to deal with, because there are some developmental or cognitive developmental issues that children are born with, right? So we also have to identify that. That's separate and apart. But let's just assume that your child is normal with no trauma or anything like that, right?
Right.
Now, mothers also will be their child when they see their child marking up the walls. No, let's stop here. Stop right there. first of all, the fact that you signed up to be a parent, you're supposed to be prepared to deal with something like that effectively and not beat your child because the child marking up on the wall. Because why? The child is literally telling you, Mommy, I want to be an artist.
There you go. There you go. And they will beat it out of that
They'll
child.
beat it. Oh my goodness. They'll beat it out of that child.
No longer draw, no longer scribble. Because it's like, oh, my mom don't want me to do that. And so they lose their ability. If you see them marking on the wall, what do? Get them a drawing book.
Sketchbook. Get them a sketchbook.
And some crayon or something or the other. And so they'll stop scribbling on the wall and drawing on the wall, and they will use the sketch pad.
Right. I see I see a comment here. We talk about poverty. We talk about how poverty ties into education, but we need to first identify the fundamental, right?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yes, we'll get to that. So if you see a child dancing, always prancing around, we don't like children prance around. We don't like children go outside and be investigating.
That's right. You know what I say sometimes? And even if a child says something to you that you don't like, that child rude.
That child rude.
But think about what the child has said to you. Think about it and investigate why.
Investigate why. So so we're moving on again. So now let's start dealing with now the people who are failing in our education system.
Hold on, Colin. Somebody says you would make a wonderful husband and father if you're not already.
Thank you so much. But one of the things that I'm doing, I really want to be able to have that platform where I could teach people how to think, because it's a new way of thinking.
Yes.
And you don't have to be educated or have degrees and doctorate and master's degrees. No, you have to have common sense.
Common sense. That's it.
Yeah.
Because you know what, Colin? There are a lot of people who have the degree in psychology and so on, and they still don't get it.
Because they're educated.
They're able to explain things like what we're doing this morning. They're not able to do that. And so they have the book sense, they have the degree, but they need to be able to have that communication.
That's right. They were educated in a paradigm that is outside of themselves.
Yes.
We have to understand that there is only one race, which is the human race. But let's just, for this conversation, see that there are different races. So we have Chinese, we have Indians. Everybody learns differently. Each race learns differently. So you cannot teach an African child the way you teach a European child.
Exactly.
You cannot. You can Chinese, because there are cultural differences, and we need to understand the culture. When you look at our primary schools, we have some sense of our culture in the primary school because we understand that we teach certain things through songs and music, right? We learn the ABCs, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's right. You understand what I'm saying? Did you also know that children developed not hopscotch, is it hopscotch or the game where you mark out boxes and you number them and do and where you roll the ball and you skip and you bounce 1, 2.
They still play that in
They still play that, but they don't understand that was a way for them to understand numbers and associate. Oh my God.
Moral. That's it. Yes.
It's a way to learn mathematics. But hold on, we'll get into it. So right. So you cannot teach an African child the way you teach a European or a Chinese because there's cultural differences. But you need to understand. But what is happening now is that they're trying to teach us the way that Europeans will learn. Why? Because we have adopted our colonial oppressors' educational system and not our own. We tweak it. We make little modifications, but essentially the foundation is not of our own. So therefore, only a certain amount of people will succeed, but the vast majority will fall through the cracks. Now, we also have to understand that of the 1,800 students who ventured into the secondary school is not an indication that they have the necessary knowledge or skills in it. We have to also understand that too, because we have good test takers. We have people that could take exams, but ask them to practically apply what they have learned, they can do it.
And that is so true. Yeah.
Trust me. We also have some well-educated people with doctorate degrees and so forth, but then And it's not their fault. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying because the system is oppressive. But they have doctorates, but then ask them how to survive without using their degree, and they can't do it. And if you were to take away their degree and take away their income and their means to provide for their families, they cannot survive.
And that is so true, because we're teaching a lot of our children in the Caribbean how to go out there and get a job after they leave school. But we're not teaching them how to become entrepreneurs. We're not teaching them how to start their own business, how to look into employing other people, how to look into doing other things that are so important. So important. And then when you have an island, especially, that have very limited jobs available to those who are coming out from secondary school, what do we do?
All right. So, and I'm glad you raised that problem, huh? Because that problem will always continue. And what makes it worse is that we also have to understand that a lot of these people come from impoverished communities, dysfunctional societies, dysfunctional parenting, right? Not having that. For instance, so let's deal with the males, because females are outperforming males, and we have to understand why they are outperforming males.
There we go.
Now we have to understand that a significant majority of our families in Grenada and in the Caribbean and even in America come from single parent households headed by females.
By females.
And that is fundamentally wrong. And that is a systemic problem. We tend to blame fathers, but we don't understand that there's an oppressive system that encourages fathers not to be fathers. Right.
And no, they encourage fathers not to be dads.
Oh, dad, right. You
mentioned
the difference.
They are fathers. They provided the son. Mm-hmm. And they did that, and some of them might give whatever they can monetarily, but they are not there as dads to nurture and protect and to
provide discipline.
Yes,
very important. Discipline. Because
not only to provide discipline, but to be an example for their sons to follow.
Thank you very much.
Not only that, to be that example that their daughters would know what kind of young man to look for to get married to.
And all of that is education, eh? So let's not, we're not deviating from the topic, you know. Mm-hmm. All of this is education.
That's right.
Because what education does, it prepares you to function in society. To be a functional. So we have intelligent but dysfunctional people in society.
There we go.
Right? We have an education system where we only look at the good and we promote those who succeed. But we forget and neglect the majority of people that have fall through the cracks. Right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who went through secondary school, have subjects, but they're good test takers. They didn't learn anything.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Right? So, all right. So I had made some jottings. Jottings. There are some things that I want to discuss because we want to talk about why our young men feeling, right?
Very much so.
Yes. So first off, we need to establish that there's a difference between an educator and a teacher, right? A teacher tells you what to think, and an educator shows you how to think.
How to think.
Right?
That's right.
To think. But we have a lot of teachers, and nothing wrong with it in itself. We have a lot of good teachers, don't get me wrong. A lot of them don't have the necessary resources to complete their job. But also, we have to understand that there's a lot of teachers who just went there to get a job. And they don't necessarily care about the student.
The
caring. You have to care. Because if you don't care, then if you don't think that, mind you, we have people who would only care for their children, but they wouldn't care for somebody else's children. So let's say, for instance, you have two houses. I only look after my children, but I don't look after the neighbor's children. And let's just assume that the neighbor did not take care of their children. You know what's going to happen? Your children will have to interact with their children. And if their children is dysfunctional, then your children would also be dysfunctional because they're interacting in the schools.
Yeah. And let me tell you, in growing up, I remember in primary school, we had a teacher. She was a Trinidadian, and she cared. She cared enough that she would actually come home to the children's home. She will come home and talk to the parents and make sure that everything is all right at that home. But I don't think we have teachers who care that much. Well,
That much.
maybe one or two of them that much in this day and age.
Care.
Yes, she cared.
But and mind you, let's just get it. Remember, the parent is the first educator. So if the parent does not accomplish their responsibility or carry out their responsibility, and they pass it on to the teacher, don't expect the teachers to care either. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Don't expect them to care. You understand? If they're not obligated to, really. You are supposed to make sure that you get them up to a standard, and all the teacher has to do is refine their skills. Just refine it. But then you can't want to say it's like giving a carpenter a brick or telling the carpenter, you know what, mix your own brick, and you're the mason. But you're telling the carpenter, man, mix your mortar. You're supposed to be mixing the mortar and then give him a brick, and then the you understand what I'm saying? But what we're telling teachers to do is to mix the mortar.
You get the mason to mix the mortar. because the carpenter most likely wouldn't know how to
mix the mortar. Yes. Thank you very much.
That's right.
Right. So we're going on again. So I want to also understand, have us to understand that because of COVID, there is a good at COVID that came out of COVID, especially with this real estate education. Not only the fact that we understand the use of technology in education, but we also have to understand for the first time in a lot of years, we have parents now having to be forced to take up the responsibility to ensure that their children learn because their children was on lockdown for the first time.
And there is where it shows the disparity in home.
Thank you.
Yes, because you have parents who never really did much learning themselves. And now they are being asked to take up the responsibility, helping their children learn.
That's right.
Not only that, we have some homes where some of them don't even have a proper telephone, cell phone, much less to have an iPad or a tablet or something for their children to continue learning at home. And so we have those problems. We
definitely have those problems.
Yeah.
Right? So now,
says, in any profession, you have to like what you do in order to be successful. Very much so.
Very much so. So let us now speak about what's happening in the schools now and at the home. So we're talking about the same thing simultaneously, right?
Yeah.
So at the homes, we have single parent households headed by females, the point that I was making. Majority headed by female households. Now, the men are failing. The women are succeeding. So I'm not trying to focus. I'm trying to put the focus back on men. Not that I'm excluding females. Don't get me wrong, right? But the males are who needs our attention now. Now, you have this thing, and a lot of people don't understand it because we are not taught to understand the spiritual connection with parents. Male students or male children long for the father, the masculine energy. They long for that. The feminine energy is good, but then everything requires balance. At home, they get a lot of feminine energy. When they go to the schools, majority of the teachers are females. So another set of feminine energy. So you know what's going to happen is either they conform, which is unlikely, like some people could conform to that environment, but a lot will not be able to conform to that environment, and they will look outside of the institutions
to
get energy. And there we have gang violence, then drugs, and then alcohol, because they get the wrong masculine energy on the blocks.
That's right. And because where are most of the older men?
They're drinking. They're on the block drinking. They're in the rum shop. But they are a product of a failed society, so they were children too. So we have a cycle.
It's a continued cycle.
And like I said, we put Band-Aid on cancer.
That's right.
We don't deal with the issue. We deal with symptoms of the issue.
And we don't even find out what kind of cancer they have, because there's so many different yes.
So many different cancers. Yeah. So then now we have men, because I remember, I think I got the last the generation that I come from. I think I got the last set of male figures in the secondary schools and in the primary schools, because I remember Teacher Eddie. We used to call him Teacher Edwards, but we used to call him Teacher Eddie. The way that gentleman will dress There was no creases on his shirt. His pants fit him perfectly. He's well educated and he knows how to be a man.
He knew how
to be a man. And he did not have to beat us for us to respect him. Is because it's not fair. Remember, if you fear someone, you cannot love them, because fear and love cannot exist in the same environment at the same time.
At the same time.
Respect is what he got, not fear. So then we had to be on our P's and Q's. We were forced to be on our P's and Q's, not that he would reprimand us so severely that we might die. But what I'm saying is that how he would speak to us, he would make us feel responsible for our education. And that if we're performing the fool, then we'll pay the consequences, and then we will feel it. And then we would go home, we would reflect inward, and we'd be like, nah, I have to do better.
That's right.
But that should have been the father in the home's responsibility.
There you go.
Not the teacher.
And you spoke well there, because even now, 30 how much years after my dad died, 35, 36 years, I still reflect on what he would think before I do something. And so it is so important for those sort of things to be instilled.
That's right.
In the children, but especially the young men, because they are the ones who we want to see do better.
That's right.
Who we want to see be examples for those young men growing up.
We have to understand
the dads.
Yes.
And say dads. And don't get me wrong. There are some women who don't want the father around, because some of them say if he can't provide financially,
we have a problem.
Then he should not be in the child's life.
We have a problem.
Wrong.
We have a problem.
Because if he cannot provide financially, but he could be an emotional guidance for that young man, let him be. Let him be. And trust me, when he realizes that kid, that young boy looks up to him, he will try to be that person that young man needs him to be.
That's right. That's right. No, did you know that I only got licks once in my life at home? Once. Why? Because I already knew what I was supposed to do at a young age. I started reading at the age of 3 and 4, reading properly, to my level. You understand what I'm saying? And it's because my mom started my education early. I will give an example. I was so mature at the age of 4, 5, because remember, my mom died when I was 7.
7, yeah.
I remember that me and my mom was going to the surgery, and the surgery is in Maryborough in St. Andrew. And on our way back, my mom would normally walk to get the exercise and so forth. So on our way walking, she tried to raise me, and I stopped her. And she told me that story, yeah? And I also remember it. She said to me, you know what I said to her? I said to her, Mommy, I know you're tired. I'm a grown man, I could walk. I'm 4.
You were a little boy.
But
you're a grown man, you can walk.
I could walk.
You had empathy for your mother. You knew she was tired. And even at that young age, you knew you felt that you needed to tell her that you're okay. She can leave you, let you walk, because she's tired. Yes.
That's right. And my mom did not get to complete her mission. So imagine now that I'm entering into a dysfunctional primary school. Now, when I say dysfunctional, I'm not trying to disrespect our educational institutions. I'm just saying that there are fundamental things that we need to do in order to strengthen. As a matter of fact, we need to dismantle the old colonial mindset of our system, and we build a structure that suits us as a people. When I went in, and after my mom died and I went in, I am a product of the failed educational system. I am a product of it. And still I'm able to survive and succeed. Why? Because I had that fundament, the foundation proper, right? So let's now discuss some other issues. And I really want to get people to understand that discipline is very important for the man, for a male. Discipline is very important. Discipline is important for females, but we just talking about
for the males.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, people tend to think that being disciplined is always wanting to do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. It's not necessarily the case. It's having the ability to do those things that are necessary for your empowerment, even though you don't want to do it. That's what self-discipline is.
There you go.
Yes, man.
It's not everything you want to do is good for you.
It's good.
Yes.
Thank you. You see the point? So that is what self-discipline is. So sometimes I
Yes.
don't want to study. I rather play video games. But guess what? If I don't study, I would not pass my exams. I would not be able to be successful. So you know what? I have to now force myself to want to learn. And
That's
that
right.
requires self-discipline. And if you parent don't not instill that in you, trust me, you will not have it. One of the ways to instill discipline, other than just teaching them in the womb and providing for them and observing them, one of the things that I would like parents to do is that ensure that your children make up their bed when they wake up. That's one of the first things that they should do.
That is the first issue where discipline is concerned.
With discipline,
You
get up, make your bed up. Make your bed up. That's the first thing. Otherwise, you're not getting breakfast.
Boy or girl, it
Boy or
does
girl.
not matter.
It does not matter.
But you know
Right.
what? A boy has to survive also.
Thank you very much.
You have to still learn to make up your bed. You have to learn to clean, to wash, to cook.
To cook, I learned how to wash at the age of 7, and I learned to cook at the age of 9.
Teach your children to do those things.
And without no parental supervision, because my mom died early and my father didn't care.
Right.
So I did not grow up with any guidance. People look at me and wow, you come from a good family, boy. They didn't realize I come from a dysfunctional family. And if my mother didn't do the things that she did, I would have been on the blocks because I was staring towards that. Don't get me wrong.
No. You would have been on the blocks. You might have even been in jail.
I might have even been in jail. And it's not that I was around the elements. I was around the drug dealing. I actually have a brother in England who traffics cocaine. Let's just be honest. He came down and I saw him preparing cocaine right in our home. I grew up in those things. I grew up on the blocks with the guns and the marijuana and the drugs. And I'm not saying that marijuana is essentially bad in it. It's the abuse and how marijuana is used. Because remember, marijuana is a plant. So let's not demonize a plant. Okay?
That's right.
Let's not demonize marijuana here. Okay?
Abuse of it, Colin. The abuse.
The abuse of marijuana and how it is used. The mere fact that they're smoking marijuana, that's not the way to use marijuana. Marijuana is a herb. It's a plant. But anyway, that's a different topic.
Don't worry. We will deal with some other topics.
Yeah, we'll deal with some other topics, right?
Yes.
I am a product of a dysfunctional educational system, but I was able to manage because I had the foundation. So let me give an example of how we need to change the way that we think what education is. Mm-hmm. I have a friend, all right? And that friend, he cannot read properly and he cannot spell properly. But he cannot spell properly, but he could read. Here's the thing. When it comes to physics and mathematics, you can't beat him there. As a matter of fact, he's designing AC units for skyscrapers and for buildings. And he cannot read. He cannot spell properly.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So we have to understand what is education. What is education? And because we're trying to push all our children into one direction, now realize that everybody learns differently. Everybody have different styles in how they learn. And our system does not cater for the different learning styles of our students.
Very much so. Very much so, Colin. And that's one of the things we were talking about. They do not recognize that there are different learning styles. And not only different learning styles, there should be programs. If a child says, look, I don't want to go that line, and you will notice it, they're not geared to doing physics and all of these different things, but they're geared to working with their hands and creating things. We have to let our children lead us in and look at them, work with them, and let them tell us what area they want to go into. Because trust me, if we allow them and we recognize those things, we will be doing a great service to our children and to our community.
Very important. I would also want to add to that. Now, within our schools, we have a lot of useless subjects that we need to get rid of. That is clouding the minds of our young people, wasting a damn. Sorry, sorry, I get a bit passionate, but no.
I know you're passionate about it.
I'm
know
so sorry.
I know that.
But it frustrates me, and I'm not the most educated or the most qualified. But what I'm saying, the people who are qualified and they have their degrees, they don't understand the problem because they are not on the ground.
Yes.
They're up there looking down at poor people and trying to understand what's happening in the minds of poor people. You see the point that I'm making? How you could be living in your high-rise luxury and trying to understand what's happening in an impoverished community and trying to understand why the children are not feeling and blaming fathers and blaming young men because they're not disciplined and they're rude and they're distant. You see the point that I'm making? Casting blame, not realizing that there's a systemic problem.
It's a systemic problem. And if you're there where you're above what's going on, how are you going to be able to do what is necessary or put in place what is necessary to help stave off that systemic problem, to try to correct certain things that could be corrected?
Do you understand what I'm saying? No, what is also important, just imagine, we tend to pressure our young people because we have only this one-track minded of what is education or what is success, right? So we say that, all right, you have to do 12 subjects, 13 subjects, 14 subjects in order to be successful at CXC. But the gentleman that I was referring to that is actually earning probably way more money than the prime minister in his salary. I'm not talking about his investments because I understand he's $19 million rich, what he declared. But anyway, I'm just talking about his salary. The gentleman is working for more than that with only 4 subjects.
Okay.
4 subjects. Physics,
but
math, English,
were the subjects
he loved.
There you go.
Because he knew what he wanted to do.
Yes.
A matter of fact, the gentleman, he doesn't even have a bachelor's degree or a master's. He has an associate degree from TAMCC.
But Cullen, I guarantee you, if you speak with him, since he was young, there were certain things he did.
That's right.
Toys and put it back together. With this, and he knew exactly what was inside of that.
Yeah, I remember he used to call me, and I used to hear music blasting in the house. And when I finally visited him, I saw it was just a little radio, and he put it inside a bucket he created, and that amplified the sound. He's an engineer.
Yes,
he's an engineer. But most important, hold on, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get passionate. We're gonna get to it, Dr. Zee. I remember I spoke to a young kid on Tuesday, a young man. He's in Form 4, and he says he's doing 6 subjects. So I asked him, do you have the fundamental subject, agriculture, math, English? If you want to one subject, just to sidetrack just quickly, one subject that I think they need to really reintroduce in a very firm way is civics in the schools, right? Yes. And also the history, because we need to understand our history. And the correct history.
Yes.
Not because what history does, it gives you pride in your culture. So when you have pride, your self-esteem is at 100 million.
and when you know the truth about what we have done as a people, and given the credit given to another race, then
thank you very much.
Then you start taking more pride and wanting to be part of that.
That's right. No. I've studied African civilizations, and one of the things we need to understand, all the subject areas that we have presently now was one subject in our institutions on the continent. Our major empires, I'm talking about the so-called Egypt Empire, the Egyptian Empire, that's African, Black people. Not what you see today. Those are invaders, Arabs, right? Was one subject. So just imagine the other subject that they're not teaching. Astronomy, astrology. Did you hold on? Let me just get it clear. Did you know that?
Colin, let me say this. Our show is almost at an end, but my people on Stephanie Stokes, Lydia James, Snowdiver Mitchell, all of you guys, I want you guys to come back on Tuesday, God's willing, because you know what? I am going to whatever I had planned for Tuesday. God's willing, it's going to be off. We are going to definitely continue
Yes.
this because we still have some other things we have not gotten to yet.
Oh, yes, and we're running out of time. Oh my goodness. Imagine it. That topic is not for 1 hour. That topic you can discuss the problems in 1 hour.
Exactly. So we are going to continue this thought.
Yes.
These thoughts on Tuesday, God's willing. You know, so we have to remember where we stopped today.
Oh boy, I remember.
we have so much to discuss, and Colin, you are so passionate about this. You know, yes, Lydia, we are bringing Colin back. We are going to be having a series of chats on certain important things, and sometimes we actually will bring other people in when it's necessary.
Yes.
So that we can highlight certain things. Like hopefully we'll have someone on to go through the laws, the criminal laws, structure, and other things pertaining to Grenada, and possibly other places also. So we are on a roll. Keep that enthusiasm up, Colin. I know you have it anyway. It's not going anywhere.
No, it's not.
What we're going to do, we are going to take a short break. And I want to thank you before we go to the break, Colin, for your enthusiasm, for agreeing to do these series of shows with me.
Yes.
And it's important because I want you, listening audience, to get your friends, get other people to come on with you. And we notice we are taking all of that into consideration, and we want them to understand what is going on. And hopefully before we end this series, we will be able to say to you, this is what we think should happen. And
solutions.
Yes, we'll be able to get it to the right people to help our young men, especially to help our young men. Colin, your some words of wisdom before we end this program.
Wow. Well, all I just want people to understand is that there is a systemic, oppressive system that is meant to destroy the Black family, right? All families, but majority of the Black family. Why? Because once we are dysfunctional, it serves the elites. Because now we're not workers. We're not producers or owners of the means of production. We're working for a system and generating wealth for someone else, right? So I need us to understand that we have been educated in a paradigm that is outside of ourselves, and we need to return to our paradigm and be educated on our terms in order for us to be successful and succeed and to be competitive, not dependent on the system. So if today a government can provide a job, you could walk out and you could create your own job. And that's the kind of people that we need.
Oh, Colin, what a great topic. We coming back to that.
We'll come back to that.
Yes. And we are going to be back with further discussion on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. God's willing.
Thank you. I'll be well prepared. Just imagine, I'm talking off the top of my head, right? So imagine if I get
what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Because we feel this.
We feel it. We know.
We feel it. And so that's why we are trying to bring it out there so people would understand. It's not only about you. It is about all of us.
All of us.
All of us. So we'll take that break. Colin, thank you so much, and see you back.
Peace and blessings.
Yes. We'll take a break right now.
You're constantly thinking of food, but sometimes you just don't want to cook or want something a little different. That's when you call Tasties, preparing meals that you really love. Tasties, our mouth-watering food would have you coming back every day. But hold on. We only prepare meals Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for now. Call early because we have a lot to serve and we would love to serve you. Tasties, we prepare the meals you love to eat. From macaroni pie to baked chicken, provision dumpling and saltfish, stewed chicken, curry chicken, baked chicken, rice and peas, salads, and more. Please call for the daily menu. Call 425-0624 or 403-0411. You can pick up your meals from us or we deliver to you. Tasties, food that's delicious.
We're back, and Colin, I'm going to bring you back for just a minute more.
Okay.
Yes, we had some homicide in Grenada. Can you just give us a little information on that before we close off? Where's Mr. Campbell?
Hearing me? Are you hearing me? Were you hearing me?
No, I wasn't hearing you before.
Oh, so I have to repeat. Okay, no problem. So yes, I was made aware early this morning that there was a homicide in Wharf that occurred in Wharf. A young man named Derek. We have a picture of that young man. But like I said, this is just just preliminary reports. The details of what transpired will come out later. So this is something that we have to investigate as well. It's troubling. But like I said, it's a systemic problem. It's a systemic problem. And if we don't deal with it from the root, we would always see those things happening.
It will always
if we
happen.
don't deal with the issue of poverty. And when I'm talking about poverty, I'm not talking about just not having a job. I'm talking about having a job and still can't make ends meet. That's poverty right. Also. Underemployment, poverty. So
and we are going to
discuss that.
Kathy Joseph said, I think Curlin will make a great PM, a great
well,
Curlin,
trust me.
John Wellington says, thank you, Curlin, such bright mind. Wish you can get to the youth and give them some lessons. We're going to get to all of that.
Wow, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Appreciate that.
And we are going to get to that, hopefully. So, Colin, thank you so much. And I'm looking
I hope I made sense.
sharing the spotlight again on Tuesday,
Yes.
God willing.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So have a wonderful weekend, Colin.
And a blessed week to you and your audience.
Yes. And
yes,
a
blessed weekend. Blessed weekend.
And I'm going to say, you can stay right there. Everyone who is listening or watching the show, have a wonderful weekend. Wow. And may God bless you guys. May God shine his face upon you. And I want you to think about some of the things that we discussed today. Talk to your friends about it. And tell them, tune in on Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock, and may the grace of God and the sweet fellowship of the Holy Spirit rest, remain, and abide with you all, with us all, now and forevermore. Amen. And Doris Maureen Charles says, thank you, Colin. Blessed weekend to you as well. So, bye. Have a wonderful weekend and see you next week, God willing.
Rise in the morning. Your day just got started.
Everybody rise.
Rise with Dr. Zee.
Everybody rise.
Wake up and live.
Everybody rise. Wake up and live. Everybody rise.
Rise in the morning.
Wake up and live.
Rise in the morning. Your day just got started. Rise with Dr. Zee. Wake up and live.